And welcome to this week's Coach's Corner, the first one of April. And I was just talking about it with some people here at Hardee's that it feels a little bit more like January out there this morning with the wind and the cold. No, and it just won't give up, folks. But I guess we should maybe be fortunate that we aren't dealing with the snow that they are dealing with in southern Minnesota. Of course, it's with all the cool weather, we've had many cancellations. Not a whole lot of stuff went on this past week. Not a lot of stuff on the schedule for the upcoming week either, as a lot of things have already been canceled. Rainy River softball was supposed to be playing in Brainerd today. That's been canceled. The Rainy River baseball team was supposed to be playing in southern Minnesota. Those games have been canceled. So it's just kind of maybe a slow time of the year, maybe a time for everybody to catch up, and that's catch their breath. We're going to talk Little League Baseball here in about 5 or 6 minutes, and we're also going to be talking about Little Fort Big Falls Vikings boys baseball team coming in this morning, so those will be our guests. One mention that I want to make as director of the one of the committee members for the Hall of Fame. I do want to let everybody know that we are sold out of tickets for the Bronco Athletic Hall of Fame. We have got a full house of 260 people already signed up. So unfortunately, if you do not have a ticket already, we are not going to be able to accommodate you. We feel very blessed that everybody, so many people have want to come out and honor this year's inductees, but at the same time, we feel very bad that we only have so much room to deal with, and that's just unfortunately the nature of what's going on. Last night, the Minnesota Timberwolves were out in LA looking to try to maybe put a stranglehold on a playoff spot that I have said since day one of this season that they were going to get. And I thought the Timberwolves played kind of uninspired in the first half from what I watched, especially in the second quarter. They actually took over the game in the third quarter, dominated the second half, and won by a final score of 113-96 over the LA Lakers. Jimmy Butler made his return. How big is that for the Minnesota Timberwolves going down the stretch here and hopefully into the playoffs after missing 17 games? He had 18 points, but maybe more that defensive pressure. He had 4 steals. The Wolves are in 8th place by a half a game over the 9th place team, the Denver Nuggets. They do get to play they just lost to Denver. They get to play them in the final game of the season. How exciting is that going to be? The Wolves have 2 games remaining. Everybody else in front of them and behind them have 3 games remaining. So the Wolves really had to win last night to keep themselves where they need to be. The Masters yesterday, second round, Patrick Reed shot a 66 for hit the best round of the day to move to 9 under, and he leads the Masters after 36 holes. Mark Leishman is at -7. Henrik Stenson is at -5. They're in second and third place respectively. Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, who led after round 1, are in a group at -4. Rain and cooler temperatures today, and they were just showing on the Weather Channel that as the temperatures go down, watch out, because that means the scores are going to go up. So who's maybe sitting 6, 7, 8, 9 shots off the lead today? Who's maybe at even par that's going to make a move and move themselves into a possible chance to make a move on Sunday? Of course, the third round today and the fourth round tomorrow. Minnesota Twins today, they will be playing Seattle in Game 2 of their 3-game series. That game starts at 1:10, 12:40 pregame on your home for the Minnesota Twins, K104. Of course, the Frozen Four tonight, final game tonight, the championship game between UMD, Go Dogs, and Notre Dame. Of course, it'll be a very pro-UMD crowd, I'm sure, in St. Paul tonight. That game starts at 6:30, and I believe on ESPN, not ESPN2, like the games were the other night. Minnesota Wild have their final regular season game tonight. They are in San Jose, already in the playoffs, already know that they're going to be playing Winnipeg either next Wednesday or Thursday, just depends upon when everything gets settled and how things are going to work out. That game is at 9:30 tonight out on the West Coast, and let's hope that the Wild can stay healthy, number one, and of course to get a win going into the playoffs would be very good. Tomorrow, the Lakers, Fort Francis Lakers, in the SIJHL semifinals. They'll be up in Dryden for Game 5. They forced a Game 5 the other night with a nice 6-3 win at home on Thursday night. If there is a Game 6, if they win on Sunday, the Game 6 is Monday night at Ice for Kids Arena at 7:30, and let's hope the Lakers can get back there. Dryden's a very nice team. I had a chance to go over and watch them Game 3 on Tuesday night, and I was very impressed with what Dryden can do, how big they are, how fast they can skate. And of course, also tomorrow, the Twins play the series finale with the Seattle Mariners, again at 1:10, 12:40, the pregame on K104. Of course, as we mentioned, everything around here being postponed or canceled. Of course, all our former Broncos, tracksters, baseball, golfers, everything else has been postponed as well. So we have nothing going on there. We're going to take a break here, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk to International Falls Little League President Russ Nagel. You're listening to Coach's Corner, live from Hardee's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Welcome back to Coach's Corner for our second segment. If you tuned in a little bit late, yeah, we're already at our second segment. Not much going on, and joined by International Falls Little League President Russ Nagel. And Russ, this is I saw you about a month ago at a local business, and I asked you how you were enjoying your time off with not being with Little League or who you had found, and you said, "I'm back." Well, let's start there. Well, you said you had unfinished business. Is that?
Yeah, I wanted to get a new president on board and asked a couple guys, and one guy stepped up. But then one of my board members said, "Russ, we haven't finished what we started. So let's get that guy on board and then build from there and finish what we had started." And that's with basically building the new concession stand with handicap bathrooms and making improvements to the program and starting over.
So is that something that's going to happen this summer or something that already happened?
No, that's on the drawing board with the new concession stand and the bathrooms and that. That's in the process about I would think probably 2 years away from doing that. But we are in the process of building another t-ball field because we've decided to make some improvements, we think, in the direction of the games, and that we're having 4- and 5-year-old t-ball this year. We got a division of 6- and 7-year-old t-ball this year with coaches and players pitching at the 6- and 7-year-old division.
So they'll start off as hitting off the tee and then eventually get to some pitching, or just straight out pitching for the 6- and 7-year-olds? I'll ask.
Straight out pitching for the 6- and 7-year-olds with the coaches helping. And the plan is that if the kids are having a hard time hitting it with the pitching, then we'll have the tee right there for them to do it.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
We're going to increase the field a little longer, so the 7-year-olds can eventually try to hit a home run when they're playing. We're teaching more of the basics, Tim. We're going to let them throw to the right bases. You know, if it's an out at second, they'll go off the field. Every kid will still bat every inning.
Sure.
But we're just trying to get the kids more up to speed on how
the game's really played.
Yeah.
That's great. Always looking for changes and those kinds of things. That's important. And I noticed that maybe signups are, I guess maybe in my mind, a little later than normal, and now you can do it online. I mean, you're making it. How do you get the candy bars into the hands of the parents if they're doing it online?
No candy bars.
No candy bars anymore. Oh, I'm thinking back to 1997 when I had to do it and had to go out and try to sell 45 candy bars or whatever. No more candy bars. I think that's a good thing, actually.
Well, we learned that, you know, it puts undue hardship on parents and everybody that when they're out trying to sell candy bars because everybody's doing it. Everybody has a fundraiser. I think we raised the cost up $10 in the last couple of years to help offset the candy bar sales.
Sure.
And then we don't have to have people out running around in the middle of winter time and this cold now selling candy bars.
Sure. So we were talking about the number of kids that you thought maybe last year you had an increase of about 30 kids over 2016. Now you're looking maybe to be in the 300s for kids signed up?
Yeah, we're looking to increase it 300 to 350 kids this year with a couple of the new brackets that we're trying to create. We're just trying to change up things, Tim, a little bit to show folks that we're trying to make improvements and getting things up to speed.
I mean, do you feel like you're hearing from parents that they want things to be different? Is that kind of why you're looking for the changes, or is it something that the board, the committees kind of look at it and go, I think these would help our baseball and softball programs? Ooh.
As soon as you start getting stale on things, Tim, people lose interest.
Sure.
So anything that we can do to get the folks and the players to see that they're going to something's going to change. Like, for instance, the 6 and 7-year-old division. Every other week, we're going to throw the pitching machine out there so the kids have an opportunity to bat off the pitching machine. And then at the 8 and 9-year-old division, which 8 and 9 is a new division. 9-year-olds played at the Major Bs last year, or minors. They're going to be doing the pitching machine and coaches pitching and players pitching. So everybody's going to be involved in the process of improving how the kids play the game. Pretty excited about how we're going to implement that, and it could be a learning process.
Sure. So does that mean now that if the 10, 11, and 12s are just going to be at the major level, are you going to have a major A and a major B level, or because of the lack of numbers, is that something where you can only have one major division?
No, the 10, 11, and 12-year-olds will be in the major division. There's going to be a tryout. Tryouts are on April 16th, 17th, and 18th for them divisions.
At Carey Park?
At Carey Park.
Okay.
Hopefully, we have the weather. And last year, the Rainy River Community College baseball team came and helped the evaluations, and on the first day. The second 2 days is going to be coaches doing the tryouts, and then coaches will be picking teams for the Major A and Major B. 10 to 12 players on a team. I like to keep the teams lower so kids, they put pressure on themselves to come to the games, and everybody gets to play. They're not sitting on the bench. Tim, you probably know as well as I do that if kids are sitting on the bench, sitting on the dugouts, they don't learn how to play the game. They don't
want to come back and play if they're not getting a lot of time in. I agree.
Everybody needs to be on.
But it makes it tough when people are going on vacation, right?
Well, that's one of the reasons that we start May 1st or May 7th, somewhere around there. Of course, depending on the weather again.
Absolutely.
And we're done by July 4th. So we have most people have all of the summer to be on vacation, and we play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. Monday nights is a practice night. Last year we started station practices, and where somebody pitches, and then other kids are at the batting cage. Other kids are taking infield and that.
Sure.
And that worked fairly well, and we're just trying to improve on that this year for Mondays. Now, if we got 400 children to play, we'd have to change that, Tim. And
that'd be a good problem to have, right?
That is a good problem to have. The more children we have out there playing, the less we have sitting on the couch.
Does it seem like the parents are being more involved with what's going on, or is that? I know it seemed like maybe when I was there, it was tough to find coaches, tough to find conveners, tough to find umpires, et cetera, et cetera. Do you feel like right now you're in a good spot with the number of volunteers that you have to come do those things, the coaching and the umpiring and all that other stuff?
No, Timmy, in a small town like International Falls, everybody usually steps up and helps. You have to prod them a little bit, coax them a little bit, but most of the time they'll step up and help run the program and make sure that it's running smoothly. And that's one of the comments that I've heard from parents, and that is that they like how the program's running. They think that we're doing the right things.
Okay.
Our geographical area goes from Emo just about to Atikokan, Little Fork, Big Falls.
Yeah.
We have probably the biggest area of anybody in Minnesota for Little League baseball. And we pull a lot of Canadian children over. I'm thinking in T-ball last year we had like 50 to 60 4 and 5 and 6-year-old children. And from what I've heard, a lot of them people are coming back.
That's awesome.
So it makes me happy.
Yeah. Now I want to go back to the tryouts. You said they're on 16, 17, 18, so that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of not this coming week, but the following week at Carey Park, but I don't think we set a time.
5:30 p.m. For the boys baseball.
Okay.
And then girls softball is going to be at Holler Field on the 18th at 5:30. That's 10, 11, and 12-year-olds.
Provided that it's cleared off.
Oh, everything's going. Everything's good. Yeah.
Everything's good to go.
Yeah.
You got some sheets of paper over there. What else do we want to? I know people can still register online. So do they go to iFalls Little League, iFalls LL? I can't remember is that where to go?
iFallsLL.com. Online registration's available. If you need help, all you have to do is call me, and I'll try to get you through it. I'm not that good on the computer, but we'll see what we can do. My phone number is 290-0639.
Okay, and if they don't have the ability to register online, can they just call you to register, or how do they register otherwise?
We have a date set April 16th at the computer lab in Falls Elementary School, 5:30 to 7:30. Just come there, and we have help available to run through the process and that.
Okay.
We increased the cost this year, Timmy, by $5. It's up $100 per player.
Okay.
Part of that cost is getting absorbed. We have to have a background check on everybody that coaches, umpires, presidents, board members, and that. So that helps offset that cost.
Sure. And of course, you got to have new mitts, new uniforms, new hats, you got to have that stuff, right?
This year, Tim.
This year,
we're going to spend $10,000 to $13,000 on equipment, umpires. We want to get a new batting cage for the girls softball. A new pitching machine for the girls. New T-ball equipment. And Little League has instructed us that we have to have a different style of baseball for baseball. So we have new bats coming, which you can buy a bat for $300.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, we're buying bats for like $60 to $70. So we can at least have a couple of new bats for each team in the major and the major B and the minor divisions.
Wow, bats that much? That's crazy. What else you got there, Russ? That you want to talk about here this morning, because we want everybody to know what's going on. This is hopefully going to get them up to speed.
Well, the Rec Commission and Teddy at the city are putting in new dugouts for us on Rizzle B Field. Rizzle B Field has kind of been neglected the last couple of years, and so we're making some improvements there. New aluminum dugouts and that, something like that at the college.
Okay.
At the girls softball college one. So they'll be nice. I like to mention the sponsors, Tim.
Sure.
You know, we have 19 sponsors last year that paid $350 every year to sponsor a team. That money goes towards everybody's uniforms.
Okay.
And some of them sponsors have been around since 1989, which is amazing that sponsors stick around and help forever. Tim Hortons has taken on the T-ball division. They buy the uniforms for the whole T-ball division, which is a lot of money. So get up and support Tim Hortons this year. I see it's their first year grand opening, or first year open for a year.
Yeah, and I believe after I get done here, that's one of the reasons why I need to get out of the way, is because we're going to be broadcasting live at 10 o'clock, I believe, or 11 o'clock. 10 o'clock, I think it is, from 10 to noon with that opening. So who else?
I got scheduled. I didn't tell my board members, so some of them are gone for hockey this weekend, so they didn't get to make the decision. But Field Improvement Day is scheduled for April 28th and 29th, where we're going to mow the fields, get everything ready for the season.
Do a little raking.
And build a new field for the T-ball. And another field, like I mentioned.
And that'll be behind the visitor side bleachers over behind the football field, I assume?
Yeah.
And I see we opened up a gate on the other end. All kinds of cars parked down on the other end of the football field last year, and I loved it, because one of the things, and of course this is a personal thing now, my granddaughter and grandson now live right across from the Little League field, and I know what the traffic is like around that gate, and I feel much safer that there's not going to be as much congestion on that end of the field, that there'll be some move to the other end as well.
Yeah, when you have 60, 70 people coming from one end, 67 coming from the other end, it's pretty congested, Tim.
It is.
It's a pretty busy place, on 5:30 to 8:30 at night on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday
Absolutely.
nights and that. I guess I'd like to take time, if I could, Tim, to acknowledge board members that put in hours and hours of time.
Sure.
Brooke Joslin, Angel Maish, Nikki Silvers, she's new this year.
Okay.
Paul Joslin, Tricia Baldwin, and Chad. I get a lot of my ideas from Chad, and he's great for throwing out ideas and that. Jeremy Hasbargen, Missy Crandall, Thor Thompson, Mike Schneider, Jackie Thorstead, Carrie Zub, Jeff Carey, Scott Thompson. Jeff Carey, how long has he been on board? Since 1989?
Has he?
He's been a long time.
Okay.
And a little plug for the new girls softball coach. She's been coming to the meetings. Shelby.
Okay. Yeah.
Lots of good ideas from her. She's doing really well.
I think I heard noise at the school this morning when I was preparing for the show this morning, and I think the noise was the softball team practicing on Saturday. How's that for keeping after the girls?
Yes. One of the things that Shelby's did is getting the younger kids. That was a struggle last year for the 11 and 12-year-old girls softball. I think we had 3 12-year-olds at that age level, and we're plugging to get 10, 15, 11 and 12-year-olds, so we can keep that program going. I know that's a struggle. There's even talk about incorporating with Fort Francis in the future. But
I believe that is a fact, yes.
Other than that, Tim, that's about all I got.
Well, I
hope for the weather to change a little bit. I still got my long underwear on,
It's still chilly out there, and I know I saw this week that the Bronco baseball field, they had a big snow blower out there. They're getting all the snow off. I know the snow was off the softball field a month ago, and but hopefully we'll be able to get some home games in here awfully soon. Russ, I appreciate you being here. Again, give the phone number one more time. 390
218-290-0639.
0639. That's Russ Nagel joining me here, the Little League president forever. That's what I say. Russ forever. That'll be my new mantra. We'll take a break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk LBF baseball. You're listening to Coach's Corner live from Hardy's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Welcome back to Coach's Corner, joined by the LBF. It's so much easier to say than. Do you guys get offended if I say LBF rather than Little Fork Big Falls? What's wrong with LFBF? What? Little Fork is one word. Okay, I still see a lot of people put LFBF, and I just kind of try to ignore that. What if I just say Little Fork? You don't care? No? We don't worry about the Big Falls guys. So I mean, I grew up in a hyphenated school. I grew up in Toivola Meadowlands, and everybody always said Meadowlands, and of course I played Little League for Toivola, so I didn't take offense to it. But anyway, I probably should introduce everybody who's here. New head coach Mason Imhoff, and everybody knows Mason Imhoff, and Eric Wimmer, and Mason Borman, and Matt Kennedy joining me. And Coach, let's talk about the weather because everybody is. Yep. Are you tired of it yet?
Yeah, absolutely. But when it comes down to it, what can you do? You just try to push everything back. And, you look at the weather forecast a couple weeks out, and it looks like it's going to be a while. We have 6 games scheduled for April. But the way it's looking, we're going to be lucky to get those in April.
I just mentioned that the Little League fields have been kind of shoveled off here. Did you guys take advantage of that and take the boys out and make them shovel off the field?
We will one day, but it's been, I think it was 4 degrees.
Yeah.
A couple mornings ago, so we will eventually, but right now there's not much of a rush.
And of course, you being athletic director as well has made you not only have to reschedule baseball games or talk about rescheduling baseball, but also softball. And we already had the first postponement for the Viking girls. They were supposed to be playing in Hill City on Thursday, and I think I see they're supposed to be playing on Monday, and they're supposed to be playing on Tuesday, and they're supposed to be playing on Friday.
Yep.
Are all those games right now still in play? No,
they're postponed.
Okay. So I can say that there are no Little Fork games this week. I'm asking you as a broadcaster to the athletic director, not to the baseball coach. All Little Fork games are postponed that are scheduled for this coming week.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. Because I didn't see that on the schedule, so I was kind of like, well, I better ask. So that makes it a little bit easier. And so you're still in the gym? You get them out in the parking lot?
Not yet.
No?
Not yet. Just in the gym, you know. It's a limited space, but you can get a lot done there. Right now we're focusing on just getting a lot of reps in, you know, because it's a long winter and it's been a while before or since these guys have thrown or hit, so pounding the reps right now.
Yeah, is it something where, I know obviously it's tough to work on game situations, but do you work on getting leads and of course I'm sure these guys like sliding on the floor in their shorts. I'm sure that makes things really, really fun, right? Eric, I'll move on to you guys. Has it been tough? Is it getting to be a grind to go to practice
It's never
every
really
day?
grind to go to practice. You always love getting reps and having fun at practice, but it gets tough being in the gym every single day, having to do the same things over and over again, but you do it for a purpose.
Mason, do you try to invent ways to make it more tolerable, more bearable? do you guys come up with new games to play, quote unquote, to make well, here we go again, he's going to hit ground balls at us. Do you do something to make it more interesting, more fun?
Well, yeah, there's some things we do that's pretty fun, and we do the same rep things every day to work on the same things, but we do a couple different things that are fun here and there to make it not as
Okay, give me an
boring.
example, because it's been like 30 years since I practiced baseball in the gym. So what do we do to make it exciting?
Well, one of the ones we like to play every day is elimination. That's one of our favorite ones.
Okay. So, because I know when I was playing baseball, I know our coach, he liked to get out the jump ropes, and the longer we were in the gym, the more we could jump rope.
It's a great idea.
Oh my! I was like, he was the basketball coach and everything else, and he loved the jump rope. We the first day of practice, 400 jump ropes, 400 you had to get completed. Well, by mid-season, you're still in the gym. You could rip 400 off in a pretty big hurry. I didn't mean to give him a bad idea, but the jump ropes, whew, I got plenty of the jump rope. So that's not fun though. You would agree, Mason? Not fun. Matt, this is a team. Talk about it. I know Coach just was mentioning to Russ that there's about a dozen kids out for the varsity. That here's 3 of them. Who are some of the other kids that are going to play an integral part besides you 3 here that are going to play a big part?
We got a couple younger guys, I guess, and coming up through the years now, and we obviously have us 3, and then basically just younger guys, and we have Cameron McRoberts, of course, can't play this year, but he's going to be a very big part in next year to come, and I think this year will be pretty good if we play ball.
I'm gonna give you a little preview of a question I'm going to ask you here towards the end of the interview in about 5 or 6 minutes, because I don't know if you were listening last week, but I put Barrett Kaler on the spot last week about who the starting 9 were going to be, and he struggled. Of course, Coach was sitting right next to him, and they were trying to do so. You guys be thinking about who the starting 9 is going to be and where we're going with that. Pitching is such a big part of this, Matt. Who are going to be the chuckers for the Vikings this season?
We've really been working on getting everybody to pitch, because we need numbers, obviously, because you can't have enough pitchers. So we've been basically working on everybody and getting everyone throwing.
Are there a couple that are going to get most of the starts though, Coach, as things roll along?
Yeah, right away I just look at, Eric, he's going to start some games for us, that's for sure. And then Ralph Crane, he's been looking very good, pitching so far this year, so he'll get some starts too. Mason's been pitching well, Matt's been pitching well. I've been working with about eight guys, and we probably only have 11 or 12 on varsity, but 8 guys are probably going to see a lot of innings, and with games possibly being stacked up on each other, you also have to take a look at the pitch count, and manage your pitching staff, but a lot of kids are going to have that opportunity and chance to pitch.
I'll ask you guys, I'll let you all 3 answer this question. Has the pitch count thing been good for baseball or bad for baseball, Eric? What do you think?
Well, it's good and bad. It's bad for a small school like us if you don't have a lot of pitchers, but it's good to save your arm, because I know when I was a freshman I was throwing quite a few innings. Then, was it last year the pitch count came into effect? I could only throw once or twice a week, and towards the end of the season, you have 4 or 5 games a week, so you can only throw once a week, most likely.
Mason, what do you think? Same kind of thing, or?
Yeah, he hit that right on the head. It's good, but also bad at the same time because we don't have a lot of pitchers, so it's a struggle.
So does that change your mindset as a pitcher that I can't go out there and be nibbling at the corner? I can't be going a 3-2 count, 3-2 count. I got to get over. I got to get up there and I got to throw strikes and let the defense play behind me. I mean, do you consciously think about that, Mason?
Yeah, that's exactly. You can't just make every count go 3 and 2. You got to try to get some lower number counts and get in batting as soon as you can because we don't have a lot of pitchers, so we're gonna have to really make sure we work on that.
I know back in the day I didn't get to pitch a lot in high school, so I liked the guy up there who was up there throwing strikes. At least if they were swinging at it, you were on your toes. If you had somebody who was nibbling at the edges and it seemed like you were never getting anywhere, you kind of had a tendency to start looking at the clouds and dandelions like you did in Little League. Who's on the schedule, Matt, that you guys are kind of looking at saying this is a team we really want to play?
I'm kind of looking forward to like Northeast Range and MIB this year because Northeast Range canceled on us last year and that was really a game I was looking forward to. And they ended up canceling on us saying their field was wet, but it wasn't. And so I'm looking forward to playing.
I like how he doesn't pull those punches. Tell it like it is, Matt Kennedy. How about for you, Mason? Who's out there that you guys are going to get to play this season?
I'd say I like to play Northwoods. We played them pretty good last year a couple times, and that's a team I like to play. They're fun to play against.
Absolutely. Eric, how about for you?
I'm looking more forward to North Home Kelliher because that was probably all around our best game we played last year.
Okay, that's good. Coach, is there one game on there that you've looked, obviously this is your first year, have you looked at there's one game out there maybe that you're like a measuring stick kind of game that you kind of go, if we play with this team, we show ourselves pretty good?
Yeah, 2 games that stand out in my mind. Ely and Deer River, both schools have historically good baseball programs, good coaches, and they've been successful the last few years. So when we play them, we'll be able to see where we match up against them. So those games I look forward to.
And you brought up Ely, and of course last year you guys got to play Ely in the playoffs, a 7-2 game. And if I remember right, you guys were up like 9-1. See, I knew it was some.
We got 10 runs.
And then you got 10 run. Does that kind of sit in your guys' craw and make you think about things? Because that was the first round game. That's an elimination game, and all of a sudden you guys win that and you get into the double limb.
Yeah, it started off really good. We were having a good time in the dugout and stuff because we were putting runs on the board and playing solid defense, and then it just kind of all fell apart when who was pitching? It was Mage pitching, right? Yeah. He had arm problems all year and his shoulder was bothering him, so he had to be taken out, and then it just kind of all fell apart from there and gave up like 8 runs in 1 inning.
So you guys get them at home or on the road? You guys get to go up to Ely at home? See, look at Kennedy. He's even got the schedule memorized.
At home, but.
And what date?
It was scheduled for next Thursday.
Oh, scheduled for next. See, that's why he's right on top of that. So it'll probably be sometime in May. Okay, guys, here comes the question, as I promised. Starting 9. We're going to start at the number 1 spot, the pitcher. First game, who's getting the ball, Eric?
If I had to guess who's getting the ball day 1.
You can call your own number if you want, but if you don't want to call it, don't call it.
If I had to guess, I'd probably say Matt is
Okay.
on day 1. He can constantly throw strikes. He gets ahead in counts.
Okay, so there's number 1. Who's the starting catcher going to be?
For sure, it's going to be Dale Erickson.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. That's the way it's going to be. Okay, I'm going to give you 3. So you get to pick the first baseman. Who's the starting first baseman?
I'd like to see myself at first base. I would like to feel like I have a pretty good wall behind me.
Okay, all right. Hand the microphone over to Mason. Mason, now you got to give me who's the starting second baseman. Ooh, look at he looks over at the coach. Don't look at coach. Just tell me who the starting second baseman is going to be. Oh, you got those 3 guys, so you can't pick any of those. Ooh, okay, I'll make it easier let's go to third base. Who's that third base?
Ralph.
Okay.
Crane.
All right. And who's that shortstop? Remember now.
Yeah,
Matt's on the mound, so we got to find a shortstop there.
The center field.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, let's. Okay, so we're gonna give you a pass. You start thinking about this because now we're gonna let Kennedy. We're gonna let him pick the outfield. Left field is going to be
Probably Jed or Logan Lucan, maybe.
okay. Center field,
Jacob Pinner, yes.
okay, and right field.
Yeah, Jed or Logan Lucan, one of them two. I think Jed will probably be left field and Logan Lucan probably right field.
Okay, so there's your outfield. So now you got a second baseman and shortstop. You got two of the most important positions on the field, the middle infield to take care of here, Mason. And you haven't called your number yet, by the way. I haven't heard your number in there yet. You got to pull you got to take one of those spots, don't you?
Yeah,
All right, which one's it going to be?
probably shortstop.
All right, who's second base then?
I'd have to say Kyler Swenson.
Okay, how'd they do, Coach?
Got a few right.
That was kind of the same response we got last week from Coach Eric Walls. Well, they did okay. They did all right. Of course, obviously Matt's only going to be starting once a week, hopefully only twice. So you plug him in at shortstop. That moves things around. And of course, if you've only got 12 guys, Coach, they couldn't be too far off. I mean, the statistics on that say that you can't be too right. The probabilities.
Yeah, the other night I was sitting down looking at my lineup and where people are going to play positions, and by the end of it, you come out with I have 9 utility players because you have to be.
Yeah.
When one guy's pitching, you have to be able to rotate. When if you're used to playing outfield, you might have to play some infield or vice versa.
Sure.
So but overall, I think these guys can do it.
Is it? How do I put this? Is it something where, with only 12 guys, you're kind of looking at, well, okay, if I even put a DH in there now, I got 10 guys basically that are involved. I got 2 guys in case I got to bring somebody off the bench to pitch. It's a nice situation to be in, but it's also a tough situation.
It is, yeah. Nice that everybody's going to get a lot of playing time and see the field a lot. Difficult at times with, you might have 1-2 guys on the bench only.
That's the way it is.
Yep.
Guys, thanks for coming up. Best of luck. Hopefully you guys will get some games. We'll all get some games in here real soon, and hopefully when playoff time comes around, we'll have a chance to sit down and chat again, and hopefully the Vikings can make a big run in the playoffs.
Yep. Thank you, Tim.
Mason Imhoff, Eric Wimmer, Mason Borman, and Matt Kennedy joining me here. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll wrap it up here from Hardee's. You're listening to Coach's Corner on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com. Welcome back to Coach's Corner for our final segment this week. Again, told myself it's going to be a short week this week, and here we are. It's 10 minutes to 10. We better get going so that we can get our other broadcast on. Let's head back to last Saturday. Rainy River Baseball lost a pair of games in a doubleheader down in southern Minnesota. They lost 8-7 to Minnesota West. Luis Rodriguez went 1 for 3 with a double, a couple of runs scored as the Voyagers scored 7 runs on just 6 hits in that game. Then they lost to Northland 10-0 in 5 innings as Rainy River managed just 2 hits. That performance by Luis Rodriguez gave him the Northern Division Player of the Week honors as he showed himself very well last week. The Lakers were defeated by Dryden 5-2 in the Game 2 of the Best of 7 series up in Dryden. Ice Dogs led 3-0 after 2 periods. Fort Francis did cut into that deficit a couple of times, but lost by a final score of 5-2. Nothing on Sunday, nothing on Monday. Tuesday, the Bronco track and field teams were down in Bemidji for an indoor meet. The girls took 11th. The 4x8 team took 6th place overall. Ryan Ford was 7th in the 1,600 meters. Emma Gilbert threw 41 feet flat in the shot put to take first place. Taylor Bush took 6th in the shot put. Olivia McBride 8th in the triple jump, and Gwyneth Shinners took 6th in the pole vault. The boys took 14th overall. Tanner Budgers, had a nice day as he took 5th in both the 200 and 400. The 4x8 took 5th place, and Wyatt Omdahl took 2nd place in the pole vault. Fort Francis Lakers on Tuesday lost Game 3 by a final score of 7-2 to Dryden. That put them behind 3-0 in that series. On Thursday, they come back to win Game 4 by a final score of 6-3. The Lakers actually trailed 2-1 in that game early in the second period, but they finished it out by scoring 3 times in the second period, 2 more in the third. Adam Withers, what a great night he had. He scored twice and assisted on 3 goals, and Nick Lucas also had 4 assists. Nothing happened locally last night. Everything going on for today has been postponed or canceled. So that goes for the Rainy River softball and baseball. All Little Fork sports for this coming week have been canceled. So on the schedule right now, Rainy River softball scheduled to be at St. Scholastica on Wednesday for a 3 o'clock doubleheader. The home track and field meet was supposed to be on Thursday. That has been canceled. It is now going to be an indoor meet that the Broncos are going to be taking part in on Thursday in Bemidji. On Friday, also on Thursday, one more time. The International Falls softball team scheduled to get their season open against Mesabi East at home. I don't think that game is going to happen, but the softball team is scheduled to play in Duluth on the artificial turf down there against Duluth East on Friday and against Denfeld on Saturday. So those games could happen. Rainy River Baseball has a doubleheader scheduled for Hibbing for next Thursday. The Rainy River softball team is scheduled to play in a tournament at Itasca starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. And Eric Walls last week on last week's Coach's Corner promised that the game against St. Paul Highland Park would take place next week in the cities, so the Broncos should get their baseball season started next Saturday. That's going to wrap up our show for this week. I do want to make a final reminder that Hall of Fame tickets are sold out. We can no longer take any more requests for tickets. We are full up, and again, we apologize if you don't have your tickets yet that you'll be unable to attend, but we also have only a limited amount of room, and that is where we are going to be at. Thanks to Ryan back at the station for pushing all the buttons. Thanks for everybody here at Hardee's for taking care of our guests. But most of all, thank you for listening to Coach's Corner, live from Hardee's on K104 and online at rjbroadcasting.com.